This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it's time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John Donalo. Now, for those of you who are watching today, I want you to know that Zoom has not been my friend for the last week. And that is why today's show may look a little different. And we're hoping that we will get all the way through. So, Paul, what in the world? And we are locked up.
Oh, now you're back again.
Oh, now we're back again. Okay, Paul. What's going on?
I don't know. We're John and I are sitting here watching, and all of a sudden, you got frozen. Are we going to try for a little while here?
Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
sure.
Well, this is What in the World, and you're probably saying, what in the world is going on with What in the World? We have been having major technical difficulties with our software, so we're going to attempt to make it through a show here without any glitches, and I will apologize ahead of time if we do have some. Bear with us, but we're just going to blast through here and see how much of a show we can pull together for you. So
that sounds good.
Karen is here. Karen at newclevelandradio.net. You know how to find her. You know how to find all of our podcasts. We've also got John Donalo, my old buddy with What in the World of Sports. Hi, John.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Karen. We'll get the show going here and have some fun.
You better believe it. Yeah, we're going to leave the photos up today. So just because it looks like that might be causing some problem. So let's get right to it. We got a bunch of stories here. I want to get to the first one. Oh, I'll give you a hint. We got some Bigfoot stories, John, with photos. We've got some UFO.
I was interested in that, Paul.
I know you're excited about that. I got a great UFO story with some photos. I've got what else here? We've got some good food stories. So get ready for that if you're hungry. John's got a great sport for us. So let's get right to it with our first story. See how we do here. So this one comes from Saskatchewan, Canada. This is So I like to do this. I like to give people a thumbs up. It turns out that some people are using it and in their business, and they believe that it's legally binding. It's a way to, if John says he wants to sell me something and I give him the thumbs up, I have just been legally bound to buy whatever it is he's selling. And we don't buy anything John's selling. So
hey, that hurts. That hurts.
Oh,
but this is United States. For a flax contract, which is wheat. And they responded back with a text message and a thumbs up. So they thought they had a deal. Turns out the company said they didn't. A judge agreed that thumbs up means yes and awarded $82,000 plus the flax, I guess. So, yeah, that means thumbs up is legally binding. I can't believe it. So my first question is, if thumbs up is legally binding, what about giving somebody the middle finger? Is that also legally binding?
Well, yeah. I don't know. That's some touchy ground there, Paul, obviously.
Touchy. We were speaking fingers here, so to speak. Good pun there, John. So, here's my thinking. We're going to know it's a problem when you're watching TV late at night and one of those ambulance chasing lawyers comes on and says, "Have you been injured by a thumbs up? We'll make them pay."
Good one, Paul. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. So this is for you, John. The Latin phrase "pollice verso" was used in ancient Rome when the thumbs up event, historians believe, first started, when the Romans were watching the gladiators fight in the arena, and when the match was over, if they wanted to spare the loser, they would look to the emperor, and the emperor would either give the thumbs up or the thumbs down. That was called pollice verso. I didn't realize that was the origin. But get a load of this. Some anthropologists in Spain, Barbary apes in Spain, have noticed that the apes there also give each other the thumbs up. So we weren't the first. Believe it or not, monkeys give each other's thumbs up. They're not sure why, it's who knows?
Do they
I
really
like
have
bananas,
do they really have a thumb?
Yes, apes have opposable thumbs,
Oh,
just
okay.
human. We share 90, I was just reading this, we share 97.5% DNA with chimpanzees and great apes. That includes, yeah, oh, very good. Karen just displayed her 97.5% ape part right there. I thought I'd test this out. I went to the zoo the other day, and the gorillas were giving me the thumbs down, not the thumbs up, which I found out later. I asked the zookeeper, and they said, well, it was because you have a Guardian shirt on. So,
Oh,
there we go. A little local.
uh-oh.
Yeah, okay. We'll move right on here. Okay, we're gonna try changing our video here. Let's see what happens. So this story, I had this story on Facebook this week. Let's bring up the photo. There you go. Okay. So what we're looking at right now, for those of you who can't see but are just listening, is a pink grasshopper. Can you see that, John and Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, clear as day.
Believe it? Can you believe it?
No, I've never seen anything like that.
Okay, this is from Wales of all places. A photographer in Wales was out in the woods and saw this and managed to get a photo of this pink grasshopper. It's a meadow grasshopper, which are normally brown or green, but this one had some kind of deformity and it's pink. So it messed up their gender reveal parties pretty bad.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, I bet it did. Right.
I know. Yeah. Well, where's the blue one? I know. So pink grasshoppers apparently don't survive very well in the wild because birds see them and they think the first thing they think with a pink grasshopper is, oh, that's the rare one that I asked for instead of well done. So yeah, the ones that like rare grasshoppers, there you go. So they scoop them right up. Yeah. This is known as a eurythmism, scientific term there, which is causes too much red pigment and not enough black. So turns out, John, this grasshopper has the same problem with ink for his printer as you do. I get
and that's a problem.
Not enough pink all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Oh my gosh.
Right, that's right. All right. So you know how much we love food stories on What in the World. So this is my hot food story of the week. This comes from Thailand. You are not going to believe this. The hot new menu item at Burger King in Thailand. And apparently countries are allowed to have different versions of these companies in their country. So we've done a lot of stories from Japan. KFC has a weird Japanese version. Well, this is Burger King in Thailand. This is their hot new menu item. Let's take a look at it there. Okay, so John, you can see that it's called the Real, REAL cheeseburger.
Ooh.
Yeah, the reason why Karen is saying ooh, for those of you who can't see it's a meatless burger. Well, there's a bun, a top and a bottom. In between are 20 slices of American cheese. Melted. Yeah, that's all that's on the burger. 20 slices of American cheese.
But it's not even on a burger.
No, that's right. That's right. It's they call it a burger, but it's not a burger.
Wow.
It's only $3, but it's free for any female customer who legally changes her name from Patty to Bree while she's there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's.
All
I
right.
don't know. Let's see if my horn's working here.
Hey, we heard it.
There we go. Okay. So 20 slices. I know John does the grocery shopping in his house because I run into him at the store all the time. John, 20 slices. That's how many you get in a package of Kraft American cheese.
That's right. Paul, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I can handle one of those, to be honest with you.
Me neither. This has got to be, they said that the young people in Thailand are into this. Well, of course they're into it. They don't have cholesterol problems. They don't have constipation problems. They can eat 20 slices of cheese.
Right.
Not me. I can't do it.
No, not me either.
I don't think I've ever been that hungry that I went to the refrigerator and I saw an entire pack of American cheese and thought, that's what I'm gonna have.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah. I've eaten a jar of pickles, but that's a different story. And I wasn't even pregnant.
Thank goodness.
So anyway, there you go. So that was a popular item. If you're listening, I often do a lot of these stories. I'll post a little teaser on Facebook, and this was a teaser on Facebook that turned out to be very popular. So I know it's a good story. All right, this is from the Netherlands. So bird watchers in the Netherlands. Speaking of bird watchers, I'm going to watch the clock here. Bird watchers in the Netherlands found out that magpies were stealing spikes that they had put on their roof to chase birds, that other people had put on their roof to chase birds away, and they actually made nests out of them. I think I've got a picture of it. So here's a picture of a nest made by magpies. Magpies are like crows, and they made it. They pulled these spikes out of the roof, and with the wires, flew it to a tree and made a huge nest out of it. It's like they're giving the middle finger to these.
That's a way of
Wow.
putting it.
And birds only have 3 fingers or on their claws. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow.
So, John, watch out for this because the word is
I will.
getting. They heard about this. I looked out the window the other day, and the squirrels in my neighborhood are stealing all the baffles from the bird feeders, and they were starting to put it around my house. So I think they're trying to keep me out.
We're
Or
sending
keep
you
me
a message, Paul. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're sending you and Donna a message there. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. This is like a cross between an Alfred Hitchcock movie and the Home Improvement Channel.
Yep.
It's unbelievable what these birds are doing. Okay, here's our first UFO story of the day. So this one comes from Mexico, from the Coahuila state. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, but I sounded good doing it. So this guy took a selfie, and later on he looked at the selfie, and let's see if we can. There he is. Okay, so there he is taking a selfie. He looks over his shoulder, above his head, and fortunately there's one of those nice red circles for us to see. And he got photobombed by a UFO. And over there above the sand dune, something that he swears is a UFO. Now this is one of those good news, bad news things. Let me see if I think I have another photo here. So there's a much blurrier photo for John.
Yeah.
So if he got photobombed, the good news is that aliens have a sense of humor. They're photobombing this guy. The bad news is they've also acquired the blurring technology that Bigfoot has. Because John, can you see? Does that look like a flying saucer to you?
Well, I can tell you this, Paul and Karen, and audience. I mean, it's in the air. Okay, it's an object in the air, clearly, but it's very blurry, and it's hard to determine what it is. I'm sorry, it's just hard to determine what it is.
I know at this magnification, I'm not even sure that that's a sand dune or whatever it is underneath it. It doesn't look like a bug though, or a bird.
No, it does look like it looks like somewhat of an object that would be. I guess you could call it a UFO, but it's not clear enough. Again, I'm
Could be
sorry.
a drone. Yeah, could be a drone.
Could be a drone. Yes, good thought there, Paul. Good thought.
Yeah, yeah. Now, if the aliens are looking at this, they're going to think a couple of things. Number one, they're going to think that this guy has an awfully big nose, because we're looking right up his nose with the selfie. But the other thing is, they're going to say, "Gee, if these people can't take decent photographs with this high technology phone, they're not worth us spending time."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're going to fly off into the sunset, and we'll never see them again. Oh, maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. Okay. So those of you who are regular listeners to the show and who have read my columns at Mysterious Universe know I have a favorite saying, and I'm going to use it on this next story. So this comes from renowned theoretical physicist. I'm going to put his photo up here because he's fairly well known. Dr. Michio Kaku. And I think I've mentioned him before. He's a very prolific author. He's on all the UFO channels. He was on NBC News, and he was discussing the latest videos of the U.S. Navy UFOs encounters. And he says he says it's unbelievable. These flying saucers could travel 20 times the speed of sound. They can drop 80,000 feet within seconds, and they can fly underwater. So, but there's no evidence. Do I say that, John? There's no evidence. John says it all the time. There's no evidence. So he says, and those of you who have read my columns know it. I'm going to tell you what he says. He says, the next time you are kidnapped by a flying saucer, for God's sake, steal something. Steal a pen, a pencil, a chip, an alien technology. Steal anything because, and get a load of this, there's no law against stealing from an extraterrestrial civilization.
I think he's right about that.
My hat is off to you. I finally someone agrees with me on that. You know, it's not against the law. There you go. We got an expert saying it's not against the law. And if it is, and if the aliens get upset while you're pulling the knobs off of the drawer in their flying saucer, all you got to do is tell them, talk to my lawyer. It's not against the law. Right?
Yeah, you're protected. Yeah.
There you go. That's right. The doctor said so. Okay, so group of interplanetary scientists working for NASA. We're looking at the far side of the moon, the dark side of the moon. I don't have a photo for this, by the way. But they were looking, and they found a giant hotspot, and they analyzed the hotspot. And what it is a giant slab of granite buried slightly under the surface of the moon, but stretches for miles and miles and miles. So they have one of two theories. One is that it's emanating heat because it was once part of a volcano, and the volcano, not that the volcano is still active, but the radiation that created the granite, which is only found on Earth, by the way, and now on the moon, the granite is still radiating. Or the other thing they think is that China, which is exploring the dark side of the moon, is planning to put a shopping mall up on the dark side, and this is the parking lot.
Well, maybe they have their home improvement show. That's what the granite is for the new kitchen.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Why didn't I think of that? See, I don't watch all these home improvement shows. That's it. Oh, that's even better. Just think of the money they could make. Wow, I didn't even think. Wow, this is. I need to stop and make notes here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So this is now, again, for our regular listeners, and I talk about the fact that John and I went to college together. John, you were a history major, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
That is correct, Paul. That is correct.
That's right. And John is also a Civil War buff. So is that right?
That is correct also.
That's correct. Okay, so this is a double whammy for you, John. This story comes from Kentucky.
Okay.
And I have a photo. I'll put it up in a second. Kentucky farmer was digging in his cornfield just a few weeks ago when he found this. And boy, I know you would love to find this. He found 700 coins from the Civil War.
Wow.
700. And you can see there's a variety of sizes, different amounts of currency. He has there's dollar gold coins, $20 gold coins, $10 gold coins, the finest 1863 double eagles that have ever been found, according to the numismatic, whatever they call the coin guys who are looking at it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So this farmer in Kentucky, he's digging in his plowing the field. He finds all this. What do you think he does with it? He loaded up his truck and he moved to Beverly.
Oh, yeah.
How's he doing there? How's he doing, buddy?
That's for our listeners of a certain age. That is, John. I'll give you an easy trivia question here. What show is that from?
Oh, of course, the Beverly Hillbillies.
The Beverly Hillbillies. That's right. Now I'll give you a tougher one. The Beverly Hillbillies were not from Kentucky. What state did they find oil in and move to Beverly Hills?
I am clear on this, Paul, 100%. The great state of Tennessee.
Wrong. It was the great state of Missouri.
Missouri,
Missouri. They were in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri, and
really?
there's an obscure line in like the third or fourth verse of the Beverly Hillbillies song where it refers to the Ozark Mountains. Um,
Oh,
wow.
I stand
yeah, isn't
corrected
it?
then.
I did
Okay.
not. In fact, for those of you who don't know who the Beverly Hillbillies are, there they are.
Yep.
Karen, we'll give you an easy trivia question for
Okay.
Karen. Can you name all the people in that photograph?
Well,
The character.
so going from my left to your right, whatever, in the back, we have Buddy Epson, who played Jed,
There
and
you
then
go.
Jane, who played the banker secretary. Then we have the
Okay, Miss
banker.
Hathaway, right?
In front of him, we have Ellie Mae, and then we have Jethro, and then we have Granny.
Very good, very good. Mr. Drysdale was the banker. That's right.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, they were from Silver Dollar City in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
that show was on. Now this is the black and it went one of those. It's one of those shows that started in black and white and moved to color. At the end, they were color. All of us kids who watched it as boys were thrilled to see Ellie Mae's blonde hair. The rest
You know,
of her.
it's interesting that you are talking about them, because the other day, as Rich is flipping through the channels, I saw it and I said, I can't believe we used to like that show.
Oh,
And his comment to me is, I still like it. Yeah.
Well, he's got a good sense of humor, Karen. That's
Yeah,
fact.
right.
there you go, John. That's right. And we were not the only ones who liked it. That show was on from 1962 until 1971. For the first 4 years, it was in the top 20 every year.
Wow.
Eight of its 9 seasons, it was in the top 20. First 2 seasons, it was number one both years. Number one. Um, the and one particular episode, a number of the episodes were in the top 100 most watched television episodes in history. The one that everybody remembers is called the Giant Jackrabbit. And I had to look it up. I thought, I should know this. John, I'll ask you. Do you remember the Giant Jackrabbit?
No, I really don't, Paul. I don't.
It had to do with Granny, okay? And Granny looked out the window and saw a kangaroo. And since she had never seen a kangaroo in the Ozark Mountains, she thought it was the giant jackrabbit. And the hilarity ensued from there, as we say in the comedy business, because nobody believed her. Nobody believed that there was a giant jackrabbit running around Beverly Hills. The Ballad of Jed Clampett was performed by the bluegrass artist, the Foggy Mountain Boys, led by Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. Flatt and Scruggs, very famous bluegrass combo. Number of hits besides that one. Max Baer, who played Jethro, is the only member of the cast who is still alive. He's 85 years old. John will know this. His name is actually Max Baer Jr. Max Baer Sr. was an athlete.
Yeah, he was a boxer. He actually fought Max Schmeling, and
the heavyweight boxer. Yeah,
he was like, I don't know if he ever was the champ, but when he was fighting Schmeling, he was the champ at the time. Schmeling was.
Yes.
So I don't know what the outcome of that bout was, but yeah.
I don't believe he was the champ. No, but that I think he was fighting for the championship in that particular.
Right. That's my recollection too. Right.
Yeah. Now Jethro was my favorite character. Jethro used to boast about his education, that he had a 6th grade education, which made him the smartest person in Silver Dollar, Missouri. He used to talk about his abilities in ciphering, which was mathematics. He knew that 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, and also in gazintas, which was 4 gazinta 8. I don't think I need to explain any further than that.
Well, I think
One more thing, getting back to history, John, people need to be looking for these coins because Kentucky, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but Kentucky was part of the Confederacy, but there were many people who were upset about that, and they really wanted to stay neutral during the Civil War. So many of the Kentuckians who were afraid that the Confederacy was going to win buried their treasures, their coins, their savings, hoping that when the Confederates came through, they wouldn't find them, and then later on they could dig them up. Which this whoever buried those 700 coins apparently didn't do that. So
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
yeah. So okay, so let's move on from some trivia to how are we doing on time there? Okay,
We're doing okay.
good. Okay, here's our Bigfoot story of the week. John, okay, here's another one that John has talked about many times on the show, and that is if you find Bigfoot evidence, people say they find, bones or skulls or something like that. Why not test them for DNA? If I had a nickel, if I had a Civil War dollar for every time John said that, I'd be a rich man. Well, guess what, John? Somebody's going to do it. And it's somebody from Ohio, as a matter of fact. His name is Matthew Moneymaker, and he's the head of the Bigfoot Field Research Organization. I've mentioned him on the show before. He's originally from Ohio, very, very dedicated Bigfoot researcher. Also, he's on the show Finding Bigfoot. So he said that a respected state university in the eastern United States will be the first to conduct a long-term systematic study of Bigfoot and Sasquatch evidence in all of its forms, especially DNA from hairs. And he is providing the hairs. Here are 2 hairs which he highly magnified, and not blurry.
Okay.
Highly magnified Bigfoot hairs that he is sending to this university, which he did not name. And he said they are going to test it and determine if it's Bigfoot DNA or something else.
They look like paint swatches to me.
What is that? What was the question?
I said they look like paints,
Oh, they
samples.
do. Yeah, you're right. You bring that up, Karen. It's kind of the color of hairs is kind of orange, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not brown like we would expect Bigfoot. It's more orangey. So who knows? Maybe he found a whole different species of Bigfoot.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Tell you what prompted this is that Bigfoot is getting endorsement deals. As Bigfoot becomes more popular, we're starting to see him in insurance commercials and in real estate commercials. So here's what's happening. I think Bigfoot's children and grandchildren are starting to think, hey, we could inherit this money, but Bigfoot won't admit that we're his kids or his grandkids. So they're the ones, they're pushing for this DNA test so that they can prove they're his heirs and get a piece of the action.
Okay. Heirs or hairs?
I think it's smart for them to do that, right?
Yeah.
You believe that?
Yeah.
So Moneymaker, what a great name for a Bigfoot researcher, Moneymaker. Most important and laudable aspect of this effort, it's not a short-term project. It's going to go on for a long time. You know why it's going to go on for a long time? Because he's got a TV show and he needs to have something this year, next year. I'm telling you. Matthew, if you're listening, it's a joke. Okay, now we move on to our other favorite monster, and that is the Loch Ness Monster. And again, I've got, wait till you see the photos on this one. So A&O Fadigan, whatever his name is, the guy who in Ireland who sits in his easy chair and watches videos of Bigfoot was at it again. He found what he says is the best Bigfoot video he has ever seen personally, and he thinks that's ever been taken. So I've got a couple of photos of it here. So of course we've got our handy red circle in case you can't find it. Above that, what the circle is a boat, that thing above there, going across a section of Loch Ness, and below it is what looks like the wake behind something that, if you look really close, I have a magnified picture, I think. It looks like there's something sticking out of the water, and it's swimming in parallel with the boat. Now, I watched the video, and the boat is going faster than whatever this creature or wake might be. But he says he looked at it. It's not a seal. It's not a fish. Not an otter. It emerges. It submerges. It swims. It changes directions. Um, you know, it could be Michael Phelps. I don't know.
I hate to say this, Paul, but
Yeah, it's really big.
to
It's a
me-
big creature.
to me, it looks like a piece of driftwood.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Oh, you of little faith. Let's take a look at the next one here. There you go. Okay, so the wake is much longer here, so he must have really
Right.
been.
Okay. Hmm.
You don't even need a red circle to see that.
Right. Okay. I don't know. I'm still not convinced, Paul. Sorry.
So he estimates that this was a 20-foot long creature. I think the next picture shows it turning around. Yeah, it turned around, and it's making its turn. It's starting to head back in the opposite direction. He says that it was it was the best one thing he's ever seen. Now, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that they changed the rules, and they said the Bigfoot registration people say they're not going to accept it unless they can see the face of the Bigfoot and see the eyes. So obviously you can't see the face or the eyes in this one.
Oh,
So
no kidding.
Got it. Yep.
I know. Now, I looked at that rule and I thought, okay, so let's say I can't see the face of this Bigfoot here, or this Loch Ness monster. What if it jumped out of the water and did a couple of backflips and went and dove back in, but I still couldn't see the face? Do you think they would count it then, or would they still stick to this face law?
I would certainly hope they would count that.
I think they would change the rules immediately.
Right.
There
There
you
you go, Karen.
Okay. All right. So we love our world record, Don. So that's it. That's all I have on the Loch Ness monster here.
Okay.
We love our world records on what in the world. So here's now this is a retraction by the Guinness World Record people, and we rarely see anything like that happen. So a few years ago, the world record for the world's longest kiss was set by a couple in Thailand. And I'm not going to try to pronounce their names, but it was a man and a woman. Their kiss lasted for, get ready for this, 58 hours and 35 minutes. Now, first thing you can say is they're obviously not married.
That was good.
Wow.
Super glue was not involved. The rules state that the kiss, according to the Guinness people, the kiss must be continuous. The lips must be touching at all times. The couple will be disqualified if they part. Contestants are allowed to consume liquids with a straw, but the lips must still not part. The couple must be awake at all times. They must stand at all times, so they can't sit down and kiss. They can't prop themselves up against anything. No rest breaks, but they're allowed to wear adult diapers. Adult diapers cannot be worn. If they want to go to the bathroom, they have to go together, and the judge goes in with them. And
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Needless to say, despite that, this couple did it for 58 hours and 35 minutes. But the Guinness people said that there's been a lot of complaints and people were passing out. They were having back problems. So they decided to no longer allow the world record, anybody to compete for the world record for the world's longest kiss. I thought that was 2.5
That's a really
days.
strange story, Paul.
Yeah.
2.5 days this couple was kissing. That's unbelievable. So in 1999, this was one couple in Israel. In 1999, they were kissing for 30 hours and 45 minutes, and they were barely conscious. They were doing breathalyzers on them. They were rushed to the hospital. They set the record at the time. They were rushed to the hospital where they were treated for fatigue. In 2004, they had to be resuscitated with oxygen. So not a good thing to do. Not a good thing to do.
And I hate to tell you this, tomorrow when Rich and I celebrate 39 years, there will be a very short kiss.
Oh, okay, Karen. Well, congratulations to you and Rich. Very
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
Congratulations, that's right. And out of respect for both of you, I'm not going to make a joke about it. The but think about this, Karen. You know, if you were looking, if you were thinking, you know, maybe there's some quick money involved in this, forget it, because the prize, that couple kissed for 58 hours. The prize was 100,000 bahts. 100,000 baht. That Thai currency. I converted it $2,800.
Not
$2,800.
enough. No.
Yeah, $2,800. Plus, they also got 2 diamond rings that were also valued at $2,800. So for about $5,000, they had to kiss for 2.5 days. Now, oh, here's one from Ohio. This is an Ohio story here. The this is our last story, and you'll see why. This case was from the New England Journal of Medicine. This comes from Wright-Patterson Medical Center down in Dayton, which serves military personnel. And the doctors one day had this guy come in, and they asked him what was wrong, and he showed them. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, rats! I missed it. I for some reason, you're gonna thank me. He had a green hairy tongue. His tongue was
Ooh.
his tongue was completely covered with green hair. You know, John, I don't know if you remember this when we were kids and going to Catholic school. The nuns used to say, if you read Playboy, that's what happened to you. You'd get a. Don't you remember that?
I don't know if that was the disclaimer, but I knew there was other ones, other things that they said would happen. So, you know, leave it at that, Paul.
Okay. So this guy was 64 years old. He went to the clinic. He had it's a gross picture, green hair all over his tongue. So they figured out that it wasn't really hair, but it was keratin, which is the stuff that hair is made of. It was green because he smoked. So, you know, they said, well, you could do this, you could do that, but we're splitting hairs here. But you really,
Oh.
Where's the horn? Go to the horn.
there you go. What you really need to do is to quit smoking, which is what he did.
Good for him. Good.
Yeah. Now they didn't say if he was smoking menthol cigarettes or lime flavored pot. But Karen, the kids these days, they're doing that vaping thing.
Yeah.
And all those flavored tobaccos and marijuana. So he went back 6 months later, and his tongue was no longer green, but the doctors still were. So that's that's the story of the man with the green hairy tongue.
Oh,
Speaking of someone who doesn't have a green hairy tongue, we've actually made it through. I don't want to jinx us here, but we've made it through to the sports section of What in the World. That is What in the World of Sports with John Donalo. Every week I ask John to come up with a strange sport that fits the theme of What in the World, which is real news, sometimes strange, always funny. John looks for sports and inevitably finds a sport that fits that category. I also asked him to find something that, maybe we could participate in at our advanced age, get into shape. I don't think we'll be participating in this one. But John, why don't you explain our sport to us? I've got your photos all lined up, so I'm just going to sit back and listen.
Yeah, sounds good, Paul. Thanks for the introduction. So our sport this week also originates from India. Our sport last week was from India. This one is from India as well, too.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And the name of the sport is kabaddi.
Kabaddi, okay.
Kabaddi. Now, kabaddi is an ancient game from India, and it is related to Jallikattu, our bull riding sport from last week.
That's right.
Now, the big difference between the two is that in kabaddi, the bull is a person. No, the person isn't in a bull costume, although that might help get kabaddi televised on ESPN.
Oh.
Wait a second, it's televised?
No.
Okay.
We were just making.
We've got some great videos here. So I bet you it is televised, Karen. There's some of the kabaddi people playing right there. Go on. So I think I see the bull in this picture.
Sure. So in kabaddi, each team fields 7 players. The object of the game is for a single player on offense, and he's referred to as the Raider, to run into the opposing team's half of the court, touch as many of the opposing players, and then return to his own half of the court, all without being tackled by the defenders and having to do this within 30 seconds. Now, it sounds like a game of tag to you, but in this sport, you truly are it. Let me explain.
Wow.
Points are scored for each player tagged by the Raider, while the opposing team earns a point for stopping the Raider. Players are taken out of the game if they are touched or tackled, but are brought back into the match for each point scored by their team from another touch or a tackle. So it's really kind of a continuous type event that
Karen had a question there. What did you have a question, Karen?
No, I would just like that position just made me uncomfortable. That's all.
Okay.
And that is the theme of What in the World of Sports. If the position makes Karen uncomfortable, we've got a winner.
There you go. There it is. So Kabaddi evolved in India because trying to jump on bulls in Jallikattu was too dangerous.
Yeah.
So then Kabaddi became popular as a competitive sport in the 20th century and was part of the Indian Olympic Games that took place in 1938.
Wow.
The All India Kabaddi Federation was founded in 1950, and it was played as a demonstration sport at the inaugural 1951 Asian Games that was held in New Delhi. Kabaddi quickly spread across the subcontinent and is, believe it or not, the national sport of Bangladesh.
Tag.
Okay.
Tag. Wow.
Now, so there are two forms of Kabaddi. There's Punjabi Kabaddi, or circle styles, and that is played on a circular field outdoors, while the other form, which is called the standard style, is played on a rectangular court indoors.
Here's a photo of the outdoor version here.
There's the outdoor version there, sure. And
pretty big. That's a pretty big area, by the way.
Oh yeah. And then so the sport that's played on the rectangular court indoors is the form that is used in major professional leagues and also international competitions.
Wow.
Karen, this is for you. The Kabaddi World Cup is an international competition conducted by the International Kabaddi Federation, or the IKF, and played by men's and women's national teams. Held in 2004, 2007, 2016, and also in 2019, all of those tournaments have been won by the country of India. The 2019 Kabaddi World Cup had 32 men's teams and 42 women's teams competing.
Yeah.
So you have to think this is really a pretty widespread sport in the subcontinent.
Here's a photo of a women's team, Karen. So looks, again, an odd position, and looks pretty strenuous.
Yes, it does. Not for me.
One of the players has a knee brace on there.
Yeah.
I think I have another one. This is another girls' women's competition here. And it
Right.
might even be co-ed, I'm not sure.
Right. Interesting sport, played without any kind of ball. It's all just, competing one-on-one with each other.
Good point. I didn't even realize that. This is one of the few sports without a ball of any kind.
Of some kind, right. Well,
Wow.
and so to sum things up, everyone, to be a good Kabaddi player, you need to be fast on your feet and quick with the tag. Now, if you have strong legs and long arms, you definitely then have the body for Kabaddi.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, I can see three bodies here that I won't be playing Kabaddi. That's
no Kabaddi for me.
And I just have to tell you guys, my son works in sports, and he made the transition from Major League Baseball to the WNBA. please, let's not tell him about kabaddi, because I can root for the WNBA. This one, I'm not so sure.
Oh, okay, Karen. All right. That's a good
Yeah,
point to
you
bring
know,
up.
of course, maybe we could get them to sponsor us now that we've given them such international publicity on What in the World. Maybe
And
they'll
look,
get that
look,
ESPN contract they've been looking for.
and Paul, you provided a great photo here for people that can see this. The best match of Kabaddi Championship taking place. It's the 11th Asian Men's
Yeah.
Kabaddi Championship that'll be held coming up, or actually took place on June 29th of this
Wow.
year.
Was held, John, and I looked it up because I saw that as well. And for your information, India won again. So
Wow.
Hmm.
They've got a stranglehold on that, that's for sure.
Strangle. That's right, stranglehold. What a great sport, John. Thanks again for that.
Oh,
And
thanks,
that was a
Darren.
2 week sport
Thanks.
because we had the sport that it evolved from last week that was so deadly that they changed it to something a little more safe. Now, John and I would never compete in something like this today. But John, I don't know if you remember this, but back when we were in college, we participated in a sport that was something like kabaddi. It was
Try to refresh my memory, Paul.
Yeah, of course.
I can read. I'm sure there was beer involved, but I remember you said we were challenged by another fraternity and they wanted to play tag or something. It was hard to describe what exactly we were going to be doing, and but you kept saying kabaddi, and none of us got it. So you decided that what we needed to do to understand it was to go back to the previous version, to the roots of kabaddi, to the previous sport, and you set me up for it. Okay, so there we have one photo from you preparing me to play this sport, and let's see if I can find that photo here. So there's John on
Oh
the
my
right,
God.
and there's me dressed like a bull. And this was
Oh yeah, now I remember. Paul, I do remember now. It all comes back to me.
it's all coming back. John was wearing a disguise because once he saw me as a bull, he was so embarrassed. For those of you who can see this show, this photo, this is actually from a show that apparently is pretty good. It's called She-Hulk, which is about a She-Hulk the lawyer. It's a woman who's like the Hulk, only she's a lawyer. There's the whole plot right there. I could,
Okay.
I should be one of those writers on strike if I can come up with ideas like that.
Okay.
God bless them. I'm sticking solidarity here. Solidarity to the writers and the actors on strike. They deserve.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
Good for them.
Okay. I'm not going to take this photo down. I'm going to force you guys to watch it because so far we've been doing pretty good. So we're gonna have to look at this. Let's look at those guys instead.
Yeah,
How
they're
about that?
better looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, better. Yeah.
All right. So we've reached the end of What in the World of Sports with John Donalo. Thanks again for that support. That means it's time for Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. The rules are much simpler than the rules for kabaddi. I have 3 stories similar to the ones that we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference: those were real. These could be real. They could be a bluff, and it's up to John, Karen, and those of you playing at home while you're out running, while you're out exercising. You decide, real or bluff, and then I'll let you know if you scored or not. Gambling is allowed. John and Karen, put your hands on the buzzers, and let's get right to story number 1. I do have a theme this week. These are all stories about animals. Okay, story number 1. Most people have seen a live chicken with feathers and a grocery store chicken without feathers, but a farmer in Israel is raising something you've never seen: live chickens without feathers. It's not to put chicken pluckers out of business, but it's to help the birds survive global warming by allowing them to cool off faster. The lack of feathers also helps prevent diseases, it makes the chickens grow faster and they require less feed. The naked chickens are not a result of genetic modification or a nuclear disaster. They're from selective breeding, and the poultry expert who developed them says they taste better than they look. The only who seem to have a problem with the naked chickens are the makers of feather pillows and down jackets. Okay, so a breeder in Israel who is raising naked chickens, which are better suited for surviving during global warming. What do you say? Real or bluff? Let's start with Karen.
Well, wow. Sort of makes a lot of sense, and what the heck? Let's be innovative, and I'm going to say real.
Okay. Oh, Karen says real naked chicken. Would you buy one in the grocery store?
They're already naked when I see them in the grocery store. They're dead.
That's true. They are. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Okay. So Karen says that's a real story. John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Karen on this one. I can see it as being very, very plausible. I mean, someone tries to come up with a new idea, and it's for the benefit of the chicken. So I'm gonna say it's a real story. I mean, it's true also.
Okay. All right. So both Karen and John say that's a real story. There really is such a thing as a naked live chicken. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, congratulations to both of you. That is a real story.
All right, Karen, way to
Yeah.
go.
I think
Thumbs
we
up.
have to buy the poor chicken some clothes, though.
I was going to suggest if you want to see them, just Google naked chickens. And there's barnyards full of these things. They're the funniest looking chickens I've ever seen. And they are naked. Okay, so the score is 1-1. All right. So, a tight match here. Let's get right to story number 2. You might think that real birds would be fans of the music by the Byrds or the Eagles, but a karaoke bar in Oregon discovered that local pigeons actually prefer the music of Elton John or Billy Joel, or at least people trying to sing like them. Bar patrons noticed that every time someone sang a song by those two artists, pigeons would land on the ledge of the picture window out front and almost seemed to sway to the music. When the song is over, they flew away, unless the next song was also by Elton or Billy. This has become such a big deal that the bar owner is charging people $5 if they want to sing those songs because he needs the money to clean the pigeon poop off of the ledge. Okay. So pigeons who flock to a karaoke bar whenever they hear someone singing Billy Joel or Elton John. Real or bluff? What do you say, John? We'll start with you first.
I'm going to say that's a bluff, Paul. I don't think that's true. I just don't think it's true.
Okay. No logic. No.
I never thought that pigeons have a great trained ear to listen to music.
So it's the pigeons' fault. Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, that's all. I'm going to put this on the pigeons. Yes.
Okay. If it were magpies, smart birds.
Smart birds might be a little bit different story, but for pigeons, I'm going to say no.
Okay. John says that's a bluff. Karen, how about you?
I didn't even think birds had ears. So I'm going to say it's false.
Okay.
I don't think birds hear things.
Okay. Then why do they chirp? That's a subject for a different show.
Hey, I can make noise and not hear.
Right. Yeah.
Oh boy, we're sliding down a slippery slope here. Let's get right. Okay, so John says it's a bluff. Karen also says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Holy smoke! Both of you are right again." That makes it's a bluff.
All right, very good, Karen.
I like it. Very good.
Very good.
We're tied 2-2. This is unbelievable. Boy, this new software is helping out during Bluff the Co-host, I guess. All right. I don't want to jinx us here, but scores 2-2. Let's get right to story number 3. Zookeepers at the Toronto Zoo were a little worried about the food they'd been feeding their chimpanzees after loud fart noises were heard coming out of the chimp area one morning recently. After checking the food for fiber, they then checked the chimps and discovered the animals were actually making the fart noises just like humans do by putting their hand in their armpits and squeezing. The zookeepers think the chimps learned this from one of the many young boys who visit the zoo over the summer, and it has become a real problem because other visitors are complaining while it Also, looks like the gorillas may have learned the trick. For now, they're trying to stop this chimp farting with signs that ask people, please don't make armpit fart noises in the chimp house. Boy, that's hard to say. Don't make armpit fart noises in the chimp house. Is that a sign at the Toronto Zoo? How about it, Karen? Real or bluff?
I'm going to say it's real. I can see chimps doing that.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Karen says chimps can make armpit fart noises. John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's true also because I think that never goes away by young kids, trying to make those fart noises, putting their hand in their armpit, right? And I can just see a chimp is going to follow a lot of times, monkey see, monkey do, so to speak. So I'm going to say,
let me write that down.
Yeah.
Okay, monkey see, monkey do. That's a good one. I'll have to remember that. So John says that's a real story. Am I right?
That's correct.
Karen says it's real. Okay.
Right.
Armpit fart noises by the monkeys at the Toronto Zoo. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Sorry, bad news. That's a bluff."
Really?
No evidence.
Well,
no
maybe in the Toronto Zoo, keep an eye on that. Maybe this will be the start of some kids going near there and see if the chimps can pick up on that, and that'll become a true story.
And you know what they're going to find out? That they heard it on What in the World, and we're in got the idea of listening to the What in the World podcast every week on newclevelandradio.net. How about that? So the final score was 2-2. We had a tie. So everybody goes home happy. Everybody goes home with a participation trophy.
Very good. Very good.
And I'm going to go home happy today. I know Karen's going to go home happy today because we made it through an entire show with no software glitches. How about that?
I love it. And hopefully next week we can figure out a way to be able to use the pictures and go back and forth.
We'll
work on it.
We'll certainly give it a try. All right. So I want to thank everyone out there first and foremost for bearing with us through the technical difficulties we've had over the past few months. We're glad we resolved them, and I hope you had a great time listening to the show today. As much fun as John and Karen and I have putting it on. I want to thank Karen, our media mogul, and who worked her butt off for the past week trying to get the technical difficulties resolved. So Karen, thanks so much for all the work you put in, all the work you do for newclevelandradio.net, for our show, certainly. Way to go. I also want to thank
Thanks for your perseverance, Karen. Thank you for your perseverance.
Everybody go to newclevelandradio.net because there's on there as well, which you can now listen to without technical glitches. So please do that. And also thank my old friend John Donalo for being our co-host, our good guy. What in the world of sports you can't beat the weird sports John comes up with. John, again, thanks for all your help.
Oh, thanks a lot, Paul. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
And again, thanks to everybody out there for listening. If you're listening, if you're watching, don't forget you can see all the photos if you go to visit us on YouTube. Go to newclevelandradio.net. We've got all the links there. Visit me on Facebook. I've got all the links there. There's no excuse for you not listening to or watching What in the World. And on that note, I think we'll be back on our regular date next week.
We will.
Tuesdays at 3:30 for those of you who like to listen and watch live. So on that note, I think we're going to make it all the way through and sign off without a glitch. So see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Happy weekend. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.